Hello. So go ahead and start your warm up. It says the diameter of a circle is 5 meters. What is the circumference? Go ahead and pause the video, and whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and press play and continue on with the lesson. So today we're going to talk about the volume of triangular prisms. And our objectives are going to be I can solve problems involving the volume of triangular prisms, and I can write to explain the incorrect step taken when I'm solving a volume problem using a content word bank. Let's go ahead and review. It says the volume of a prism formula is, now let's make sure we use our star chart. So here we would start at the top, and it goes through linear equations, circumference, area, but we want to look at volume. Then it says prism and pyramid. For this lesson, we need our prism formula. So if you notice, it's V equals big B, or capitalized B, times H. So I'm going to rewrite that here. So V equals big B times H. V is going to represent our volume, which is what we're usually solving for. Our B represents the area of our base. And our H represents the height of our prism. So to dissect this a little bit more, we've got, let's see here. Our V is our volume, and that's going to be what fills in that prism. Then we have our big B, which is the area of our base. And when we are doing that, we are literally just looking at one of those base shapes. So in this situation, we have a triangle. So we would find the area of that triangle, and then we have the height, and our height is what connects the two bases. So it would be this part of the prism. Let's go ahead and go back over the steps. We need to find the base. Then we're going to write the formula. Then we're going to find the area of the base. Remember, that's our big B that we saw up here. Then we're going to fill in our numbers. And lastly, we're going to solve. Remember that the shape is going to be named after the base. So how we're learning about the triangular prisms, our base is a triangle. So for our think, pair, share, what is the difference between finding the area of the base, or that big B, for a rectangular and a triangular prism? Go ahead and take some time to think about it, then share with a shoulder partner, and then whenever you're ready, go ahead and continue with the video. So let's talk about finding the area, finding the volume of our shape below. So for this part, I'm going to go ahead and find my base. I have two right here. And I know that these shapes are triangles. So I like to shade in my bases because it helps me visually see what I'm doing. So it asks for us to find the area of the base, but first I want to make sure that we write down what we're looking for. And we're trying to find the volume of our prism. So it's V equals big B times H. So it's separated into step 1 right here, and then step 2 is the combination of both. That's why it's written like this. So the area of my base we've already talked about is a triangle. Now, if I refer back to my star chart, I see that the area, remember you go to where it says area, and triangle is what we're using. And I've got A equals 1/2 BH. So A equals 1/2 BH. I can't change A because that's part of what I'm looking for. I don't have the area yet, so I'm just going to bring it down. 1/2 is part of the formula, so I'm going to bring that down. The base of my base shape is this part right here. So I've got 24. Then the height is talking about where it makes the right angle. So on this one, it is 15. So I'm going to multiply that times 15. For the record, I'm not going to use this part because that's not the height of the actual pyramid. We want it to be this right angle. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and shade all this in because I'm not talking about any of that for the first part of solving. So you really have two ways to do this. I'm going to show you both ways, but go ahead and pick which one you prefer to do and run with it. There's multiple ways for us to solve this, but I want you to find which way works best for you. And both of them are correct. They're both good. So the first way, I'm going to do it over here. The first way that you can do this is, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. 1/2 24 times 15. So the first way is going to be to go ahead and multiply. I've got 24 times 15. So I start with my 5 and go up and to the left. So 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. Once I finish, I'm going to cross off the numbers that I used and add my 0 to hold my place for when I move over to my 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. And I'm going to add these two together. 0 plus 0, 0. 2 plus 4 is 6. 1 plus 2 is 3. So that gives me 360. And I'm going to bring down my 1/2. Now my next step is to divide. So 360 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. I have 1 left over. 2 goes into 16 8 times. I have nothing left over, but I still have the 0. So I'm going to put my 0 up here. So I get 180. So that's one way to do it to whenever you're solving these. And then the second way is going to be, I'm going to rewrite it over here. The other way, because technically these 3 individual numbers are actually being multiplied by itself. So, or being multiplied together. So we've got 1/2, 24, and 15. Because I'm dividing it into halves, I usually like to stick with my even numbers. So I can divide these two, or the 24 by 2, because it's an even number, it's just going to be easier to work with. So 24 divided by 2 is 12. And then I bring down my times 15. So if I just multiply that out, I've got 12 times 15, and 5 times 2, 10. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. When I move over, I put my 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. I'm still going to add the same way: 0, 8, and 1. So if you see, I still got the same answer. It's just I'm working with smaller numbers, which either way is perfectly fine. It's just whatever works best for you. So now I'm going to continue on. I've already found the area of the base, so I can go ahead and rewrite it. V equals the area of my base was 180. That's what I found right here. And then times my height. And I'm going to go ahead and erase that black part. And remember that our height is what connects the two bases. So my height is 30 meters. So 180 times 30. And I've got to multiply that here. I know that whenever I start with a 0 and I multiply, all of my numbers are going to be 0. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that part and move over to my 3. So I have 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So my answer is 5,400 meters cubed. So take a moment, look at what we did, and let's look back at what it was asking us. So this is part of our evaluate in our APE. It was asking for our volume. Our answer is in meters cubed, so that's volume. Everything, we followed all of our steps, we outlined everything, solved it, showed all of our work, so this is perfect answer. Definitely try to make sure that you are writing all of this down, at least one of the options. Remember how we did 2 here? Just pick one of them, stick with it, whichever one works best for you, and then refer back to it whenever you're working on the other problems. So moving on, it says check for understanding. Can you find the mistake? Megan's work for the problem above is to the right. Can you find her mistake and explain it in complete sentences? Please use your vocabulary terms, which we've put down here. It says a food tent is in the shape of a triangular pyramid. The dimensions of the food tent are shown below. What is the volume of the food tent in cubic inches? So go ahead and put whatever you feel is the mistake, and we're going to go ahead and move on. So go ahead and take a moment. Remember our formula. Use your formula sheet and go ahead and pause it, work it out, and then whenever you're ready, you can press play. So at this point, you should have solved it. We're just going to check it real quick. I've got V equals big B times H. My area of the base is A equals 1/2 BH. Sorry, I have to make that lowercase. So 1/2 3 times 6. If I go ahead and divide this, I've actually got 3 times 3. which is 9. Now I have V equals 9 times 8, and that is 72. And I'm going to put my units, so I've got centimeters cubed. So at this point, go ahead and work on your independent practice. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Please work independently. We want to see what you can do. That way we can go ahead and help address anything that you might not understand. Again, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Worst case scenario, please send an email to one of the teachers. If this is for Mr. Escobar's class, you can go ahead and send an email to sarnold@pasadenaisd.org. That way you can get a response quicker. And then just let us know if you need help. Tutorials, as a reminder, are weekly. The only days that we don't have tutorials is going to be Thursdays in the afternoon, but there's always going to be someone available in the math department who can help you. So use that time wisely. And your exit ticket, what is the base of a triangular prism? Basically, what shape is it? When you start your independent practice, this is what it looks like. Again, if you have any questions, please make sure you raise your hand or send an email to that email that I sent you guys. Hope you have a great day. Bye, guys.